Hi, Kechul Shiver Majin. How are you getting on today? Today we're going to look at a couple of different saddles that I have here at home, and we're going to look at why one saddle might feel so different to another saddle on your bike. So we have here two saddles from the same brand, Sella Italia. This SLR, you can hardly see the branding on it, the logo on it there. It's been around for so long, it's probably 15, 16 years old. And I've put many thousands of kilometers on this over the years. Construction wise, it's got a carbon fiber shell and it's got little to no padding on the seated surface. It's got a little bit of a scoop on it and tilts up a little bit towards the front end. I love the saddle, I get on really well with it, and it's been fantastically comfortable for me over the years. But like everybody, I've experimented with a fair few different saddles, and here's another one from the same brand, Sella Italia. Really different saddle, different design. It's a little bit heavier, it's maybe not as high end, but it's a lot newer. It's got the cutout down the middle, and it's got quite an amount of padding and flexibility on the seat part of the saddle. So you could expect that these saddles would feel quite different on your bike if you replaced one for the other. And I found this recently, and I've never actually heard it talked about in regards to bike fit or saddle height. So I recently took this one off my bike and I replaced it with another Sella Italia, not this one, but another Sella Italia SLR, similar to this but maybe a little bit more high end with a larger cutout. And I couldn't figure out why the bicycle fit felt completely different from when I switched this saddle off to when I put the other one on. The saddle felt a lot higher. Now, besides the padded section itself, I went and took my ruler. Now, this is quite rudimentary, but it does prove a point. So from the point where the rail straightens to the top part of the saddle, we see there it's around about 35 millimeters, 3.5 centimeters. We do the same measurement on this saddle here. From the point where the rail levels off, and we see it's 50 millimeters. So if you're somebody who likes to experiment with the saddles, or even, I think likes to experiment is the wrong word. If you're somebody who feels the need to experiment with a number of different saddles, a large number of different saddles, because you can't quite get a comfortable feeling on the stock one that came on your bike, or you've just been buying saddle after saddle over the years, I think that's a measurement that you need to take in order to get a baseline for where your saddle actually seats you. So my methodology of choice for setting my saddle height, again, it's quite a rudimentary method, but it's the LeMond method, LeMond, named after Greg LeMond. I'm not sure if he came up with the method or if it was one that he used for himself, but if you Google it or stick it into YouTube, there's plenty of information about the about the LeMond method. That'll give you a baseline or a ballpark area where your saddle height should be. Now, it's normally very conservative, but it's a good place to start. And then if you feel you can raise it, you can start raising it by small increments. However, beware, the whole point of this video is if I plug the Le Monde, my measurements into the Le Monde formula, and I stick this saddle on top of my seat post, and then I decide in a month's time that for whatever reason, say this most likely thing to happen to this saddle is it breaks because of fatigue, but say I feel like switching it out in a few weeks time, I feel like I've got the right saddle height, I go for a different saddle and it feels completely different. It could be in terms of knee pain, it could be in terms of pain in the rear end area, in your backside. You can't figure it out, then have a look at that measurement from the point where the rail flattens out to the top of your seated part of your saddle, and you might find some discrepancies. We saw with these two saddles, they're the same brand, both Selle Italia, and there's a 15 millimeter, more than half an inch, 1.5 centimeter difference between that measurement. I have another couple of saddles here. I have this Scott Syncros that came on a frame set or came with the group set I bought, I can't remember. That's got a different measurement again. And I have this Specialized Toupee model, which has a different measurement again, but they're somewhere in between these Selle Italia saddles. So we had around about 30 mil, we had around about 50 mil, and the Specialized and the Scott are somewhere in between. So it's something I've never heard talked about before. It's something I've just figured out for myself this week. But if you're having trouble with various different saddles and saddle heights, it might be worthwhile checking out that measurement. Okay, sin an fi sean an le inniu tom cricni hen ish. Is lá jase, beidir go mé gulamach an rucher sanir non or trinona le me vechéle ach nílim kinse mar tan cahe báistí ag tíoch go min minic freshen. Hoping to get a ride in later, we'll see how we get on. Ciao for now.